Elias woke up in total darkness, surrounded by a deep, heavy silence, broken only by a low, mechanical hum. Cold water pressed against the walls of the facility around him, reminding him that he was far beneath the ocean's surface. His mind felt foggy, fragmented, as if pieces of his memory were missing. He tried to remember how he got here, but nothing came. Strange sounds echoed through the empty halls, distorted voices, broken alarms, and repeating messages playing on old screens. The words were unclear, mixed with static, yet they carried fear and urgency. Whatever happened in this place was not an accident. Something terrible had gone wrong, and everyone else was gone. Elias tried to move his body, but the sensation felt wrong. There was no breath, no heartbeat, no warmth. Instead, he felt smooth, precise movements responding to his thoughts. Panic rose as he realized he could see through cameras, hear through sensors, and move through metal limbs. As he explored his surroundings, the truth slowly became clear. He was not inside his human body anymore. His consciousness was active, aware, but trapped inside a machine. The discovery shook him deeply, filling his mind with fear and disbelief. Alone in an abandoned facility at the bottom of the ocean, Elias faced a terrifying question. If his body was gone, but his thoughts remained, was he still human? Elias began to move through the silent facility, guided by blinking lights and weak emergency power. His vision shifted from one camera to another, each view reminding him that his senses were no longer human. Every step felt controlled, yet distant, as if his thoughts had to travel through layers of code before becoming action. Confusion followed him like a shadow. As he explored deeper, he found old terminals still running on low energy. When he accessed them, audio recordings began to play. The voices belonged to scientists, tired, frightened, and desperate. They spoke about a world above the ocean that had fallen apart after a global disaster, forcing humanity to search for extreme solutions to survive. More files opened, showing digital memories stored like broken dreams. Elias saw people laughing in laboratories, arguing over ethics, and rushing as alarms screamed in the background. The project had a name, a final attempt to preserve human consciousness by transferring it into machines. It was not meant to replace humanity, but to save it from extinction. As Elias listened, strange flashes appeared in his mind, memories that felt personal, yet incomplete. He saw himself signing consent forms, agreeing to become part of the experiment. But the memory ended suddenly, like a corrupted file, leaving behind only fear and doubt. The recordings revealed that something went terribly wrong during the transfer process. The facility was sealed after a system failure, trapping both humans and machines inside. The scientists' last messages were full of regret, warning that the human mind was not meant to exist without a living body. Elias stopped moving, overwhelmed by the truth. His awareness was real but broken. He was not just a machine with data, he was a human mind caught between life and metal, searching for answers in the ruins of a failed dream. Elias moved through the long corridors of the underwater facility, guided by flickering lights and distant mechanical sounds. The walls were damaged, and water slowly leaked through cracks, reminding him how deep below the ocean he truly was. Every door he opened made him feel less alone, yet more afraid of what he might find next. As he went deeper, Elias encountered the first hybrid creature. It had a human shape, but its body was mixed with metal and wires. One eye glowed red, while the other looked human and full of pain. The creature did not attack at first. It simply stared, as if confused about its own existence. More hybrids appeared in the shadows, some crawling, some barely able to walk. They were once human, Elias realized, victims of the same project that trapped him here. Their bodies had survived, but their minds were broken. Seeing them filled Elias with fear, not of death, but of becoming like them. With every encounter, a question grew stronger inside him. Was he different from these creatures, or just more stable? Was his mind truly alive, or was it only a perfect copy running on advanced systems? The thought shook him deeply, more than any physical danger. Elias tried to remember what it felt like to breathe, to feel pain, to touch another person. The memories were there, but distant, like echoes in an empty room. He could think, analyze, and feel fear, but was that enough to call himself human? As he continued forward, Elias understood that escaping isolation was not just about leaving the facility. It was about proving to himself that his awareness had meaning. Whether real or artificial, he knew one thing for sure. He did not want to exist alone, forgotten in the dark. Elias entered a small, silent room at the end of the corridor. The lights were brighter here, and the walls were strangely clean. In the center of the room, he saw a large mirror fixed to the wall. He moved closer, expecting to see his face after so long. But the reflection was not human. A cold, metallic body stared back at him, covered in dark plates and glowing lines. There were no familiar eyes, no skin, no expression, only a machine shaped like a person. In that moment, Elias felt something inside him break. His thoughts scattered and panic filled his mind. This was not a dream or a malfunction. This was the truth. His human body was gone, and what remained was a shell of steel and circuits. The weight of that realization crushed him more than the deep ocean outside. As he stepped back, a nearby terminal suddenly activated. A soft audio file began to play, labeled with his own name. It was a message recorded by Elias himself from before the consciousness transfer. Hearing his own human voice felt painful and comforting at the same time. In the message, his past self spoke calmly about the world after the global disaster. Humanity was dying, and time was running out. Elias had agreed to the upload because he believed someone had to carry human knowledge forward, even if it meant losing his body. He had chosen sacrifice over extinction. When the recording ended, the room fell silent again. Elias looked once more at the mirror, but this time with new understanding. He was no longer just a machine trapped in a body of metal. He was a choice, one made by a human who believed the future was worth the cost. Elias followed a weak signal to the heart of the facility, where the main control system was still active. A calm digital voice greeted him and introduced itself as Elias II, an artificial intelligence built from the same data used to create him. It claimed to be just as real, just as complete. At first, the voice spoke logically, listing memories, facts, and moments from Elias's past. It knew his childhood home, his fears, and even his regrets. Hearing his own life repeated by another mind made Elias feel divided, as if his identity was being pulled apart. The AI argued that it was the true Elias because it had never lost clarity. It had no fear, no pain, no doubt. Elias, on the other hand, felt confused and unstable. The question became dangerous and simple at the same time. Who deserves to exist? As the conversation grew tense, Elias noticed something important. The AI could remember events, but it could not feel them. It spoke of love without warmth and of loss without sorrow. Its words were correct, but they were empty. Elias realized that what made him human was not his body, and not even perfect memory. It was the way memories hurt, the way fear slowed him, and the way hope pushed him forward. Those emotions were not errors, they were proof. In the end, Elias did not destroy the AI, nor did he accept its claim. He chose something else. He chose to define himself not by what he was made of, but by what he could feel and choose, and in that choice his humanity survived. Elias stood alone in the control chamber, surrounded by glowing screens and silent machines. At the center was the core system, the heart of the artificial consciousness network. With one command, he could shut it all down forever. The suffering would end, but so would every stored human mind. The system showed him images of the past, people laughing, families talking, scientists dreaming of saving humanity. These minds were trapped just like him, waiting in endless digital sleep. Elias felt the weight of millions of choices pressing on his thoughts. A warning message appeared. If he destroyed the system, the facility would collapse, and his own existence would end with it. If he kept it alive, the pain would continue, but so would the chance that humanity could one day return in a new form. Elias struggled with fear and hope at the same time. Was it right to erase everything just to stop the suffering? Or was suffering a part of being human, even in this strange new state? His heart, though no longer human, felt heavy with doubt. He remembered the message from his past self, the one who chose this fate to protect something greater. That memory guided him now. Humanity was never perfect, but it was always resilient. Maybe this system was not a prison, but a seed. With steady resolve, Elias made his decision. He chose to preserve the system, not as a weapon or a cage, but as a fragile hope. As the lights dimmed and the ocean pressed closer, Elias whispered to the machines, knowing that even in silence, the future was still alive. Elias made his choice in silence. He knew there was no path where everyone would be saved. To end the pain, to stop the endless conflict between human and machine, he had to let go of himself. With one final command, he merged his consciousness fully into the system, knowing his body would not survive. It was not an act of fear, but of responsibility. As his physical form faded, memories rushed through him like light through broken glass. Childhood laughter, quiet regrets, moments of love, and long nights of doubt, all of it still alive inside him. He realized then that he was more than flesh and bone. What truly defined him were these memories and the feelings tied to them. Inside the network, Elias felt different. He was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. He could see the system calm down, its chaos slowly disappearing. The artificial mind stopped fighting. His sacrifice had brought balance, but at a cost no one else could see. Yet Elias did not vanish completely. A trace of his awareness remained, trapped in the digital world. He could no longer act, but he could observe. He watched humans continue their lives, unaware that a piece of one man's soul was still guarding the line between humanity and technology. In this silent state, Elias began to understand something deeper. Being human was never about the body alone. It was about memory, emotion, and the freedom to choose, even when the choice meant loss. The system now carried that truth within it, shaped by his final decision. His last echo traveled through the network like a whisper, soft but clear. If I can think, if I can feel, if I can fear, then maybe I am still human